Aaronator here, and this is our third episode of our Canucks Talk podcast. Our third edition, sorry I should have said, but anyways, we are here, and this is where we talk about nothing but just the Canucks, pretty much. I mean, sometimes we talk about occasionally a couple extra big things that happen around the NHL, but just mainly the Canucks. And this is the only Canucks Talk podcast on YouTube, so make sure you guys just stay tuned for whenever I post it, usually around monthly. This one has been a while, but we are quarter way through the season, and the Canucks are coming through 24 games played. With 24 games played, they have a 9-8-7 record, so they are above 500, but it's pretty close, and they're fourth in the division. It's pretty tight, honestly. My big question for you guys for this episode, really, or this edition, I keep on saying that, goodness gracious. But in basically, my question for you guys is: are the Canucks right now are they playing to what you would expect them to play as? Because I mean, personally, I'd say that they are always going to be a competitive team that want to make something happen usually, and for that's the reason I like the Canucks, because they just they play every game in, game out, and they don't give up. They actually, no matter what, they want to be a playoff team, and even though their team looks like they shouldn't be a playoff team, they're still trying. And you know what, I could see that possibly happening, but they gotta do a couple things. They gotta change a couple things around, and we'll talk about that throughout this episode. So, couple big things, guys. Let's just talk about player stats so far. Up first, we have Daniel Sedin. He has 27 points in 24 games, so he's a point-per-game player. The Sedins, point-per-game players. Really? Again? Like, I don't think anybody was really expecting them to do this well. Like, right now, they're just on fire. Henrik Sedin also has 23 points. Daniel has 11 goals and 16 assists. Henrik has 8 goals and 15 assists. They're +6 and +7, so, I mean, honestly, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. I mean, the Canucks are struggling, but the Sedins are playing well, so maybe we need to work on some specific things, but we'll keep on going through this. Jannik Hansen, 15 points, 7 goals, 8 assists. We're not gonna go down the list, but Jannik Hansen, I mean, he's been playing with Sedins for some time, but I mean, he's their top plus-minus player with +11, so he seems to be, you know what, Hansen, Burrows, all those guys, they've always been throughout the team through, like, their entire careers. Edler, like, they just play so well. You gotta like those guys. Edler, he has 13 points in 23 games. He's doing very well. Radim Verbata, that's a big thing. 12 points, only 6 goals in 22 games, and a -11. The worst plus-minus on the team. -11 for Radim Verbata. So, here's a question, guys. Another question: should he be traded? And this has come up probably a couple times, considering that he has 1 year left on his contract that the Canucks sign him to, and basically, I mean, he's a great player. He's around the same age limit as Sedin's, but with 1 year left on his contract, especially even if we are a playoff team, like I've talked to a couple people, and some are saying, like, you know, maybe they should trade him because, I mean, just for that age group. I mean, we do have 14 forwards right now, by the looks of it. So, I mean, if we also need to bring up someone, I'm sure Gauntz could probably come up, or Shinkaruk if they're ready. Depends. But, I mean, so especially, like, I think Verbata really needs to step it up, especially if they don't want to trade him, because, I mean, maybe he's a good player, like, as a personality player, but sometimes they got to be guys who can play in the NHL too, so. Burrows is doing pretty solid with 11 points in 23 games, -2, but he's fine right now. He's doing great. Jared McCann, big, oh my gosh. I did not even expect this guy to make the team, and now he's like, you know what, I'm not saying Calder Cup, but I mean, players like Aaron Ekblad didn't have the most points last year, and I understand he was a defenseman, but still, you never know, I mean, right? Especially with McDavid injured right now. McCann, 9 points in 22 games, 6 goals. That's the same as Verbata, okay? And this guy is like, what, 18, 19 years old? That's oh my gosh, he's overaccomplishing. But that'll be interesting to see how well he goes on through the season. Brandon Sutter, only 16 games played because he was injured for a bit. And he's He has 8 points right now and 4 goals, 4 assists. I mean, they played him with Sedins, but I think right now he is suited better as center. And he's doing great. He's doing fine. But a couple other things. Ben Hutton, 8 assists, 8 points for 20 games played, -6. But I mean, this guy could be a great defenseman of the future for the Canucks. Bo Horvat, -9. Now honestly, this season I haven't seen him doing that great. Personally, I'd like to see him play better and maybe even like just be that second line center that the Canucks need. Like 8 points, 2 goals. I could expect more from him. I mean, 20-goal season. I was kind of hoping based on the fact Sean Matthias left, but yeah, a couple other things. Sven Barchi, 7 points, -1. Is he worth it right now, guys? Would you still do that second round pick for Barchi? Hopefully it works out in the end. Cracknell, I mean, at the beginning of the season, oh gosh, he's done pretty well for us as just a solid depth player whenever we need to. He hasn't played like the entire season, but 18 games played at 24, he's doing good. Tanev, +7. Hamhuis, +7. They're getting good stats. Virtanen, 18 games played, 4 points, -2. He's not having the greatest start again, but I mean, I would expect more from Horvat. Virtanen makes sense because he's still young. He hasn't played all these games. Yeah, he's just got to get started. I think Jake Virtanen, I'm really excited to see how he does, and Bo Horvat, all the prospects. I'm so glad the Canucks decided to keep a lot of guys. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's honestly nothing much else for stats. Plus minus guys, Horvat, Verbata, Ben Hutton, Yannick Weber only got 3 points, so maybe I'm not saying trade bait, but I mean, he's not performing, right? So it's not likely, but especially since they just signed him. So I mean, otherwise the Canucks, they're doing pretty good. This fits them 4th in the division. The Arizona Coyotes are also 2 points ahead of them, but I mean, they could probably fall off. So Anaheim's coming back into the picture. Calgary's still struggling. Edmonton doesn't look like they're going to make playoffs, especially with McDavid not in the lineup. But I mean, never know. San Jose could fall down considering they don't have a solid 100% goalie. I mean, I'm not. You know what, Sharks fans. No, I'm not offending you, but I mean, Jones. I like San Jose. I like all the teams in the NHL pretty much. And I love when they get new players, and it's just so unique whenever big trades happen. I mean, I found Martin Jones to San Jose a big trade, considering they gave a first-round pickup for him right from Boston. So I don't even know why Boston made the trade in the first place. It wasn't a Lucic trade, right? So I guess that was just part of what they wanted. So yeah. I mean, honestly, guys, the Canucks are doing solid. They have to definitely keep up with some of the younger and older teams in the division. LA is definitely proven they're a good team again. Dallas, St. Louis, Chicago. Los Angeles is just the same amount of points as Chicago, and then there's Nashville and Minnesota. So if the Canucks are going to make the playoffs this year, I'd say it's got to be a divisional spot. That Central Division is way too strong for them to try and hope they can get a wild card spot out of them. But I mean, the past 10 games, guys, the Canucks not been doing too great. 3-4-3. I mean, they could really step it up. Goals for, they're getting lots of goals for, top in the division with 69 goals for in the season. But goals against defense, that could be an issue. They might want to check it up or start checking some guys back there instead of letting them get all these shots on. We're letting all these teams score, but yeah. So let's get into a bit of the deeper stats, like the power play and the penalty kill. So if we look right now, it seems the Canucks for the power play, they're 20.5% on the power play, which is very solid. Basically tied for 10th along with Colorado. And I mean, that's good. Considering it was around that area last time, last year, I think it was 9th last year. That's still fine. They're being in the top, I mean, top 10 in the league for power play is great. I mean, top 15 as long as you're in the top. I mean, penalty kill is probably the bigger thing. And that's where it really is an issue, guys. The Canucks, I mean, if you look right now at who's leading the NHL in penalty kill, I mean, and Anaheim now, Montreal. I mean, definitely one problem is that the Canucks definitely have to fix their penalty kill this season, because right now they're 24th on the penalty kill, with penalty kill percentage of 77.6%, and that's, yeah, like, being that down low, like 24th in the league, that's considering they were one of the top teams last year on the penalty kill. Guys like Bo Horvat, obviously that doesn't account to plus minus, but those guys definitely got to step up, because the Canucks they definitely need to step up their defensive game if they want to be a playoff team. So as for Jacob Markstrom, he's back, so he's been playing a bit, which is interesting. We can go to goalie stats a bit. I mean, if you look at it, Markstrom, he's played 3 games. He's won 1-1. The goals against average isn't the greatest, but I mean, if you look at the save percentage, it's not that great either. But I mean, it's still early on in the season. He's definitely got to prove himself if the Canucks want to have him as a goalie of the future, because I mean, right now the Canucks look like they could use Lack. I mean, I don't have Eddie Lack's stats checked up right now, but I mean, if you look at, I mean, right now, if you look at Ryan Miller, he's definitely played well for us. 2.48 goals against average with a .913 save percentage. I think right now our goalies are not the ones to blame. Maybe Markstrom, but I mean, he's not really playing that much, a whole lot. I mean, I'd say that Miller is doing solid right now. It's just our defense, I think, needs to step it up and play a bit more defensive hockey, especially the penalty kill, because I'd say that is the reason why, that's definitely the reason why the Canucks are not higher in the league, probably because they need to work on their penalty kill, because last year it was like, what, second in the league. It's definitely going to step up. But I mean, right now I have Eddie Lack's stats located, so maybe now that I look at it, maybe keeping Eddie Lack wasn't the greatest. I don't know if it's just the fact he's on Carolina, but right now if you look at his stats, he has a 1-4-1 record with a 3.29 goals against average and a save percentage of .874. That is, oh my gosh, that's super low. The Hurricanes probably, definitely, especially if the Hurricanes want to be a playoff team, I'd say that their top point guy, Justin Falk, doesn't need to have their most points on the team. It's just going to be Ekman Larson again. So, because Carolina, I mean, they're not going to be that great of a team this year, probably. But I mean, honestly, guys, probably a couple trade things, a couple questions for trades. Would you say that just trying to think about this. Would you say that even the Schneider trade, would you still make that Schneider trade, considering we have McCann and all that? Would you still make the Schneider trade? Would you trade Verbata right now with a -11 and that many points? Could the Canucks go without him and maybe get like some assets for the future, maybe draft picks, maybe younger players, roster players? I don't know. Maybe a goalie, because Markstrom, I mean, he isn't doing that great, so maybe they need another goalie. I don't know. Demko's coming up, but that'll be interesting. I'm really excited for the future, guys. I'm really excited to see what the Canucks. I think they can be a playoff team this year, but I mean, it's a lot of things got to happen in general. I mean, maybe McCann gets the Calder Trophy and he goes and has a 70-point season. Maybe that wouldn't hurt, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, this is a decently long Canucks talk episode, not super long compared to past ones, but I mean, yeah. Let me know if you want me to try and make them longer. I could probably make them longer, but if you like shorter ones, then I mean, you like shorter ones, so I'll try and keep up. Next time I'll try and make sure that I upload this one a bit sooner than later, as I did take a while for this one. But I mean, at least we got this one for like a quarter way through the season. It's 24 games in, so it's interesting to see what will happen for the future, guys. I mean, top in the league, Dallas and Montreal, so those two teams are leading pretty good. Washington, yep, it's getting interesting. And I mean, I hope, honestly, the Canucks do well, but not so well that the Sedins and Verbata do. I mean, I didn't draft any from my pool personally, any three of them, but I don't even know if I drafted a single Canuck. I didn't draft Horvat. No, I didn't draft anyone, I don't think. But I hope no matter what they do well, especially the Sedins. Wow, point per game Sedins? Could this even happen next year? I don't know, guys, but I mean, anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. Hope you enjoyed this edition of our Canucks Talk podcast, our third edition. I said it this time, edition, not episode. But anyways, guys, anyways, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.